Welcome back to the True Body Intelligence Podcast. I'm Christopher Lee Maher, and I'm your host. And today, we're going to talk about a system known as Bestercise. It's part of the suite of systems within the True Body Intelligence system. I just said system too many times.
We're back.
We're back.
Excited about this episode. Now we're going to talk about the juicy stuff, about the actual techniques, and the one that you mentioned the most, like the Swiss Army knife of all techniques, which is the Bestercise.
Bestercise, yes. I mean, for me, I love Bestercise. Why is Bestercise? Because Bestercise is the best form of exercise. I don't care what anyone tells you. Bestercise is the best form of exercise. The question is why, right? Because
Question is, what is it?
well, the question is why is it the best first?
Something.
Right? And that'll allow me to lay some groundwork because people need education, right? If you say isometric contraction, most people in the world are going to look at you like, is that a tractor? Is that some special type of forklift? And so contraction simply means the muscle's either lengthening or shortening, right? So in Bestercise, which is an expanded version of what I call BEST. So BEST are bioenergetic self-transformational sequences. What does that mean? It means there's different positions that you can get into that allow you to transform your tense body or excessively tense body into a very open and spacious body. And so, why is it the best? It's the best because it utilizes all forms of contraction. So, isometric, concentric, eccentric. Well, there's different demographics out there, right? You got the gym heads, or we call them gym rats, or the muscle heads. You got the athletes. You have the yoga community and Pilates community, and then you got the couch potatoes, right? You got the people that are, or the walkers, right? They like to walk their dog, and that's their exercise. And so each one of these demographics uses a different type of contraction, right? So the people that go to the gym and the athletes, they're really focused on concentric contractions, right? So really focus on building strength. Because if I get stronger, I can perform better. And then you have the demographic that's in the isometric contractions, right? So you've got passive isometric contractions, which they utilize in yoga. And then you have active isometric contractions, which they utilize in Pilates. So Pilates vacillates between active isometric contractions, which means there's no change in the length of the muscle, right? You're just hanging out in this position. And they also shift into a little bit of concentric contractions. And so how do you get everything activated in your body? How do you, well, if there's three types of contractions, they're all there for a specific reason. If you're only utilizing one, what's going to happen to the other two?
What?
What's going to happen to the other two?
Well, obviously atrophy, like you're not going to...
There's going to be an imbalance.
But do they have to be present in every person's lives, all three?
If they want to be in neutrality, yeah.
I thought you meant that it kind of like each one of them is more geared towards a particular kind of archetype.
Yep, each one is. But the question is what's going to happen if they only focus on one mainly? It's going to pull the other two out of balance, right? You're going to be limited by that contraction. And so when you're using the body, right, the body has different forms of intelligence, right? It's about position, and it's about the movement in that position and the instinct you're accessing to move your body while in that position, okay? So if your instinct is high, you have very little injury. If your instinct is low, well, you have a lot of injury. You hurt yourself all the time, right? We talked off camera about being clumsy, right? So Well, the less you're in your body, the less emotionally present you are, the more clumsy you are, the more you hurt yourself. So Bestercise's job is to do what? Make you concentrically strong, okay? And then make you eccentrically strong and make you isometrically strong. So the isometric contraction allows you to do what? It allows you to recruit more fibers, right? If I can activate and access more fibers, I can generate more what? Electricity. I can generate more chi, more energy to flow through that part of my body. If I'm doing concentric contractions, so I'm going to the gym and I'm doing basic resistance training, now that muscle can get stronger and can get larger. If I'm doing eccentric contractions, what does that allow me to do? To remove all of the excessive concentric tension that I put in my body from doing concentric and excessive isometric contractions. So each one has a benefit. One strengthens, one recruits, one opens.
So each one of them balances the other two?
Yes. So strengthen, recruit, open. Strengthen, recruit, open. Strengthen, recruit, open. Keep doing that again and again and again and again and again and again. Do 35 to 50 repetitions of that, and now you're going to have a muscle that's like steel wrapped in silk. Extremely strong, extremely stable, highly energetic, and super soft and comfortable.
Like Bruce Lee? Or you think there was too much tension there?
Too much tension. How old was he when he died?
Well, nobody knows why he died, but yeah.
The question was, how old was he when he died?
Yeah, very young. I don't remember.
He's very
exactly.
young.
Yeah.
So obviously he was out of balance. Right, so no, not like Bruce Lee. Right? Too much tension, too much stress. So when we're looking at optimal longevity, right? Getting the most, squeezing out the most you can out of this life experience. When you go extreme in anything, you're bringing your body into a position where you're forcing it to shut down much earlier than it could. So with Bestercise, we're balancing out however you lived your life before, right? So when you arrive, let's say you're a professional athlete and you were in the Tour de France. That was like your big thing, right? You want to cycle up and down mountains as fast as humanly possible. Well, there was a way that you've been training, but your training that you've been doing for a decade and a half is now limiting your potential. Because you've been doing the same thing again and 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 again, and I could go on for an hour. And now your body's stuck in this rote state of expression. Well, that rote state of expression is never going to get you to that next personal record that you're looking for. You got to be able to do something different. Well, what are we going to do? We're going to remove the excessive amount of tension, stress, and distortion that's stuck in your body from your repetitive movements. And now you're going to be able to move your body in a completely different fashion, which is going to give you a distinct advantage, right? So for me, the athletes that I work with, I'm happy to work on them and get them out of their pain, but I'm more excited about teaching them how to use Bestercise to their advantage. And when your muscles are long, and as strong as they are long, and stable as they are strong and they are long, you now have better mechanical leverage over every athlete that is your weight and your same strength with your same endurance and your same skill. You have mechanical leverage over them. So that means you also have lateral leverage over them. So Bestercise is great for athletes, also great for moms, also great for construction workers. It makes everything that you're doing easier because now you have mechanical leverage at a physical sense. But the most exciting aspect of Bestercise is all the tension and stress and distortion that you have in your muscles, in your fascia, in your connective tissue, is limiting or giving you greater access, depending on how open or closed they are, to the consciousness that lives in the organ that's connected to the channel of energy that moves through the center of that muscle. So let's say you have an excessively hot stomach. And people who have excessively hot stomachs, what are they attracted to? More heat. When it's hot, you want more heat, meaning you want to meet yourself where you're at. So if I want to reduce the heat in my stomach, what am I going to do? Well, guess what? The stomach meridian, that channel of energy, runs right through the center of your quadriceps. If I open up my quadriceps, guess what? I now open up a pathway where the excessive heat in my stomach can now disperse and go back into the ground. Why? Because you're made up of what? Electromagnetic energy. So that means you're an electrolyzed magnet. So when I get too hot or too cold inside, now I reduce what? The amount of electromagnetic energy moving through my system. So now I become stagnant. And when I become stagnant and my organ gets too hot, does it become more balanced or does it start to denature? When it denatures, which is the obvious answer, it starts to lose function. So now it's difficult to do what? To digest. Well, if it's difficult to digest, it's more difficult to absorb. So if it's more difficult to digest, it's more difficult to absorb, which means it's more difficult to eliminate. So now my ability to absorb and my ability to eliminate food out of my body are relative to the function of my stomach channel, my stomach as well. So Bestercise is the ultimate Swiss knife because, yes, it balances out the physical structures, but it simultaneously balances the systemic organs and opens up all of the electromagnetic channels. Well, guess what? When my body's open, so is my mind. When my body's open, so are my emotions. When my body's open, so are my energy channels. Which means now I've grounded emotions, I have a quiet mind, I have an intense amount of energy, and I have a strong, comfortable body. At that point, everything's possible. Everything in your life is possible when you have those four.
Absolutely. Can we give people an example of what it looks like of actually doing these exercises?
No, because I'd have to be with them physically.
Oh, I see. You're showing them.
I'd have to show them,
Okay.
right? And then they can easily go to truebodyintelligence.com. I offer a free gift there. And with that free gift, they're able to do what? They're able to access and get into one of these positions. And the position I leave for them there is the large intestine position. And they'll be able to get into that and make it very simple.
Interesting.
And then, you know, when you get into a Bestercise, the best thing is 28 days in a row. Why? Because now you have a lifestyle change. Forget about building a habit. What's a habit? I want a habit. I want a way of living, a way of being. And when you can teach people to fish, and they can fish for themselves and make that lifestyle change, you know exponentially everything else in their life is shifting. Because guess what the stomach is responsible for? Being authentically self-expressed. So if your stomach channel is tight, I know it's difficult for you to be authentically self-expressed. And if it's difficult for you to be authentically self-expressed, it's more difficult to be a successful entrepreneur relative to your intellect and your potential. So now I know the person that I'm teaching, their stomach's going to work better, their body's going to be more comfortable, their mind's going to be more quiet, their emotions are going to be more grounded, and they're going to have access to higher forms of intelligence. I'm basically guaranteeing that this person is going to be successful at whatever they put their focus on that day. Now for me, that's exciting. Why? Because I want people to have whatever it is they really want. Right? If you want to buy 5, Ferraris, great. Drive as fast as you can every day. I want you to have what you want. If you want to travel all over the world, I want you to have whatever you want. You want to write 13 books and, you know, reach 1 million readers, great. Yet I know if your body's full of a massive amount of tension, stress, and distortion, the things that you really want are an impossibility, because it's very difficult for you to understand what it is you really want when you have all of this generational physical stress, tension, and distortion and strain living inside of your body. And so everywhere you look, Bestercise is a win, 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 win. My mind's better, my emotions are better, my spirit's better, my energy's better, my environment is better, my relationships are better. My relationship with what? With food is better. My relationship with sex is better. My relationship with energy is better. My relationships with my loved ones is better. My relationship with education and transformation is better. It's a win, 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 win. So when I look at other forms of exercise, I think, wow, I'm so happy you're moving, but God, you're missing so much. Okay? I could literally take a guy or a gal that's, let's say, ranked 10th in the world at whatever sport they're in. Okay? Give me 3 months with them. They're going to go straight to the top. Why? Because they're going to be accessing more of the inherent intelligence in their entire body. And the more intelligent you are, the better decisions you make. If you make better decisions as an athlete, or even as a violin player, or as a single mom, or as an entrepreneur, you have more success. And so your success in the internal world, meaning your peace, your groundedness, your openness, your happiness, your joy, is relative to the amount of tension, stress, and distortion that's trapped deep in the fascial layers and the muscular layers of your body. And each day that you get up and you put in, what, 10, 15, 20 minutes? Boom, the next day, everything shifts, it changes. Your behavior changes. Your patience changes. All the things your husband used to say that used to bother you, they no longer bother you. He's like, this is weird. Susie's no longer getting angry when I talk about football with my friends. Why should she? She's no longer tense or stressed. She's no longer has a vested interest in you being different than who you are, Bob. Let Bob be Bob. Let Susie be Susie. How are you going to do that? Easily. You're going to use Bestercise to reduce your lifetime accumulated stress load. And when that sinks, your intelligence rises. When that sinks, your intelligence rises. So in order to be on a planet that functions really, really well, what do we have to have? We have to have a large portion of the population that's accessing more of their inherent intelligence that lives inside of their body. Sure, analytical intelligence is one type of intelligence, but what about their energetic spiritual intelligence? What about their physical instinctual intelligence? What about their emotional feeling intelligence? What about their external environmental intelligence? What if we raise those four up to the same level as their analytical intelligence? We have superhumans. How are you going to become a superhuman without using Bestercise? It's impossible. Impossible. So to get the most out of what you got to open up all the other doors. And you want access to that intelligence. And I want you to have access to it because I want to live on a planet that functions better. Do you think I want to wake up and see Russia bombing Ukraine, or Ukraine bombing some theater in Russia, or the Palestinians bombing the Israelis that are Iranian? Do you think I want to get up and see that? You think I want to know that's going on? No. I want to wake up on a planet like, oh my God, you won't believe that they decided in Moscow to donate this, this, and this, and this to the Ukrainian people because it's inspirational, right? I want to be in a world where we reduce the lifetime accumulated stress load by at least 10%. Man, we do that, everything changes. 10% change, everything changes. There's more money for everybody, there's more opportunity for everybody, there's more food for everybody, there's more creative pursuits for everyone. So for me, Bestercise is essential because it breaks the codependent, dependent patterns between practitioners and patients. You think doctors love going to the hospital performing heart surgeries? You think they want to get up and do that?
I don't know. Some of them probably do.
I mean, they do it, but do you think they would love to do something else that was more powerful?
I honestly don't know. I think a lot of doctors are doctors because they really love it and they feel a feeling of mission there. But if there would be a better way for people not to be sick, obviously they would.
If you had a choice between working on a healthy heart versus a sick heart.
We don't have to work on a healthy heart, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They could use their intellect to create actually, like, this is a healthy heart. Let's make like the most amazing heart that's ever worked in the world. Versus like now we're using all our intelligence, our technology to deal with sick hearts.
So instead of fixing, you make things better. You
make things better. Yeah, because it's more inspirational. It's draining to open up a diseased, sick body. It drains you.
That's an interesting point about careers, because I feel like if we entering a world in which, if we all use true body intelligence and we sever our connection with the past, we forgive, then we use Bestercise to fix all our meridians and have the energy flow in the perfect way in the body. You're saying that it makes a lot of the collective problems go away. So then where do we put our attention there? And that attention would go towards the creation versus...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Like, what if a guy who's mechanically inclined could go to work and they're like, hey, we no longer want you to fix these broken cars. We have all the resources for you to create a car that functions in a completely new way. Let's use everything you've learned to do that. You mean you are going to give me all the money resources I need to build a car that never breaks? Well, that's interesting. That's powerful. Imagine all the places that car could go, right? You could literally drive it everywhere. If there were highways from, from Alaska to Russia, right? You just drive that car all over the world. It could go everywhere. It never breaks down. Imagine what you could learn if the human body lived to 200, 300, 400 years. Imagine all the wisdom you could access, all the positive impact you could create with that one life.
Yeah.
Rather than, my grandmother, she squeezed 68, right? And, she suffered the last couple of years because of the cancer. What if you could squeeze out a good 200, 300 and be profoundly impactful? That's inspiring for me, and I know that Bestercise is one of the pathways to get there.
Okay, so we did touch a lot on how we can work on ourselves with the Bestercise. Are there ways by which people can somehow harness the potential of other human beings around them?
Yeah, I mean, Bestercise is exciting, but the co-creative process for me, when you're working on your body, is even more exciting, because when someone's helping me, I can access more of my potential force, right? It's very difficult to maximally contract against yourself because you lose leverage, right? Now, when you have somebody working on you, they can get in a position where they can access maximal leverage, which you can access maximal strength and maximal force. And one of the things that we know is little force, little change, medium force, medium change, a lot of force, a lot of change. But the key here is maximal force leads to maximal change. And so what we have in the True Body Intelligence arsenal are a couple different systems that we can utilize to allow you to create maximal change by accessing maximal force. So we'll get into that next episode. Thank you for tuning in to today's content. This will be made available in its full form of everything we put together for you at truebodyintelligence.com. And at truebodyintelligence.com, you can tune into my book, Free for Life, a U.S. Navy SEAL's unique journey to inner freedom and outer peace. And there I will teach you at a much deeper level. And this will be really, really, really good reference tool for you. Plus, the audiobook has an opportunity to allow you to start the program already by purchasing the one with the energetic integrations, and that will help you get started. All of this content will also be available on all major platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, and YouTube.